Was this the worst loss of the Core 4 era?
Man, like that's a really good question. And I was saying this on my show today. I have to credit this team for one thing and one thing only. They find a way to become more and more embarrassing in terms of the way they lose games.
So let's begin the show with really what is going to be the breadwinner today, which is in the rundown. It's just titled "Jesus fucking Christ Maple Leafs." Holding home ice in a 3-game series, the Leafs play possibly the worst hockey game ever in a 6-1 loss. They face elimination on Friday, and I don't think that we need to rehash too many individual components of the game. We will definitely discuss Mitch Marner, but I thought that the best clocking of it was done by Jackie Redmond, who tweeted, and I am paraphrasing, "It didn't need to be over tonight. It was a swing game. Someone was going to take the lead. The series did not need to feel over tonight, yet it does, because they turned in this type of performance where they get absolutely walked at home. You got Brad Marchand getting kicked out of the game in front of his parents, having the absolute time of his life. And I'll tell you, it's reached a point. Sean and I talked about this last night on the OT stream. It's reached a point where this seems like a new low, and you almost feel bad for Leafs fans. I know that I do.
I don't. I do not. I do not feel bad for them.
I also don't remember saying that I felt bad for them. I said it's like
you said it's sad.
There's no jokes to be made. It is sad.
There's a lot of jokes to be made. That's factually incorrect.
There are jokes, but it's just like
I like a lot of Leafs fans. I do not feel bad for them. I mainly do not feel bad for them because of like the larger population of Leafs fans who just like are just the worst people in the world. But that I just reserve my right to always enjoy the Leafs crashing out like this. The Jackie Redmond thing, I get it. I agree. The bigger thing here is that we've spent so much time this season talking about how this Leafs team looks different and how they're different. And now you are right back to square one. They are not different at all. And you're right. It didn't need to look like this. It didn't need to feel over. It probably would have felt over had they lost in any fashion, given that like they just lost 3 games in a row and that they're the Maple Leafs. But for them to come out and have zero excuses for how they looked in Game 5, it's stunning. It's stunning that we're erasing all of the narratives that we were writing about like these new Maple Leafs and that they are back to exactly what we expected. Like after Game 3, you say, or game 3. After Game 3, you're like, okay, you lose a game in overtime. That's excusable. Brad Marchand comes up big for his team, gets the Panthers off the mat. That's not totally the Leafs' fault. Game 4, you see the Panthers emerge as the Panthers for the first time in this series, and they choke out the Leafs, and you say, okay, that's fine. That's kind of what we expected the Panthers to look like against the Leafs in this series. That's not totally the Maple Leafs' fault. They punched them in the mouth. They didn't really know how to respond. That's fine. Where it truly becomes unfathomable is the response after they got punched in the mouth, because the Leafs knew what the Panthers were bringing. They knew what they were bringing. They had home ice, and they come out and they look so fucking flat and uninspiring. And for guys like Matthews and Marner, and I know I've made excuses for Matthews about him being injured, he still needs to be better.
Okay, let's bring in our buddy, the great Nick Alberga. Golden Muzzy, where is he? Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, boys. How are you on this Thursday?
Better than you. Better than you, that is for damn sure.
It feels like Groundhog Day, guys. It feels like Groundhog Day, where it's like I always answer the bell as a Leafs media member, answer the bell and trying to respond after whatever the effort was the night before. But yeah, mind-boggling, bewilderment, like list your best adjective as to what transpired on Wednesday night, eh?
Here's a question. Do we know that it's for sure over? And I kind of led off piggybacking on Jackie Redmond's take that it didn't need to end in Game 5, but it looks like it kind of did. They can still win a game and force a Game 7, and then they'll lose Game 7, but they can still win that Game 6.
That's exactly what's going to happen. We've seen this episode a billion times before from this Maple Leafs team. They'll drag their fan base back into the fight to deliver a really strong effort. they got to have some semblance of balls and bounce back after, again, whatever that was. And I think they lose in game 7. But I thought an interesting stat I pulled today was teams who win game 5 when tied 2-2 win 79% of series. And that's why I think so much stake was on the line there in game 5, guys.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are fine, but like, had they lost that in a normal fashion, I don't think we'd be having this same conversation. It's that it looked the way that it looked, and that they just looked like the same old Maple Leafs. With all of everything coming into one center thing, all things considered, was this the worst loss of the Core 4 era?
Man, like that's a really good question. And I was saying this on my show today. I have to credit this team for one thing and one thing only. They find a way to become more and more embarrassing in terms of the way they lose games. Like I know, and then the fight back is like, oh, every team's got embarrassing losses. Nobody has embarrassing losses like the Toronto Maple Leafs. They lost to a beer league goalie, a Zamboni driver. Like that's as low as it gets. But I think this is beyond that, where I was billing this game the biggest game in franchise history in 20 plus years, and they didn't show up for it. Like, how do you not show up for that game? I think you have to credit the Florida Panthers. I think lost in the shuffle this whole conversation the last 12 hours or so. They're playing a really good team. The Panthers were supposed to win this series. Bobrovsky's been better. I think Matthew Tkachuk is banged up, still elevating his play to a degree. I think Barkov's been held in check. Like the Panthers' depth guys have been monsters. The blue line has been really, really strong. Getting Ekblad back has been massive and monumental. But yeah, it has to be one of the bigger ones in recent memory at the very least, just because of the stakes and the fact that they just no-showed. Like, how do you no-show on home ice in game 5 of round 2? It makes no sense.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm glad you brought that up, because like I didn't want to get through the whole conversation without giving any credit to the Panthers. Like the Panthers played great, but like the thing is, we expect that from them, and
Yeah.
we were conditioned, or I guess taught to not expect that from this year's Maple Leafs. And so that's why the discussions are on the Maple Leafs. But you're right. Like the Panthers deserve all the credit in the world. They've become the Panthers over the past 2.5 games, and they deserve that credit. They look like what we expected. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, DJ, I cut you off.
I'm going to jump in with a thought on the same topic, which is I'm trying to figure out whether it makes it any better that it's against the Panthers, because the Panthers are a battle-tested team that loaded up at the deadline and looks like they're going to win the cup. The problem is, right now, I am positive that 3 teams are winning the Stanley Cup this year. There are 2 teams out west that have just as much of a nobody is beating that team, and 2 of them are about to play each other. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like the story of the postseason is, dear God, the Panthers, like it was even a couple of years ago when they were a surprise, and last year when they were starting to mow teams down. This year, I kind of had this as a pick'em with the Leafs and the Panthers, and that there have been 3 teams right now, and credit to the Hurricanes, I still think they can make a run, but it's not like this is a one-horse race and they ran into the only horse. This is a series that they were leading 2-0, and they were an overtime away from being up 3-0. Yeah, they would have let the Panthers back into the series anyway, but I actually have a hard time giving them the Panthers excuse this year.
Fair enough. And unfortunately, that's been instilled in this franchise and this fan base, even dating back the last decade. It's always an excuse why they couldn't get the job done. And I'm with you. I just don't buy it. I think every iteration of the team has been different to a degree every season. I thought they were pretty decent the Ryan O'Reilly year, but I do truly feel like this is their best shot to do something significant, regardless of the opponent, like the blue line, like the crease, like what they've established up front. The bottom 6 had a bit of an identity. And that was the big thing for me, is like how much of a no-hitter game 5 was from many aspects. But like they've been a physical team, very direct, very linear. And they strayed away from that, where it's like they resorted. Like I felt like I was watching game 3 of exhibition play, and it was only special that Nick Robertson scores a goal late in regulation after being a health bomb. But just the relative like norm that they were playing with, where it was like a walk in the park country club type atmosphere, is what got me. Like there was no urgency, no desperation. Bits and pieces, I felt like I was watching the skills competition at All-Star Weekend. Mitch Marner's trying to go backhand sauce through 17 sticks. Ditto for Matthews, giving away the puck on the opening goal of the game. You just can't make mistakes like that against any team, never mind the Florida Panthers. And I just can't give them a pass, because I've seen this rodeo again against a variety of different teams, whether it's Columbus, the Montreal one still eats me alive, where they just didn't show that killer instinct. The Boston Bruins 83 times. That's a thing, I think, from a Leafs perspective that's pissing me off today is people are coming out, it's just one game. It's one game. It's not just one game. They've proven time and time before they're unable to rise to the occasion and rid themselves of the choker narrative. I think it's a rightful narrative right now, guys.
So
A
let
lot
me
of
ask you
people
this. So let me ask you this, because we're talking about it's not just one game. Like, where is your faith in like this core group right now? I think we're all kind of packing Mitch Marner's bags, whether we're in Toronto or otherwise. But like, what about Matthews? Where's the faith in them being the guys? Because I'll compare them to the Edmonton Oilers. It's probably unfair to compare anybody to Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. But when like the chips are down, those guys and the rest of the team is playing like shit. There are so many times where those guys have stepped up to the plate and said, you know what? We're going to take over this game. We're going to have big moments, and we're going to push our team through even when we look bad or the rest of the team looks bad. What are those moments for a Mitch Marner? What are those moments for an Auston Matthews? Like, how many times have they stepped up and hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth to save their team? Where is the faith in that group, or specifically, I guess, Auston, since we're packing Mitch's bags? Where's the faith in Auston being able to be that guy moving forward?
It hasn't been there. And quite honestly, to me, I think they set the precedence years ago where they gave these entitled guys everything and the bag for doing essentially nothing and just paid them because they're really good at hockey and they'll produce points in the regular season, paid them nothing for what they did in the playoffs. And it sets a precedence for the next contract. And that's exactly what we've seen. You're talking about an Auston Matthews who right now is the highest paid player in the NHL and a complete no-show. Like, he's played 10 career games in the second round, 0 goals. He has 2 goals in his last 14 playoff games. I would add to the Matthews conversation, I think it's a bit different than the Marner one. We all know he's banged up. Like, I can't remember the last time a professional athlete went to a different continent in season. Nobody knew about it. Then we found out about it. I actually think it's hurt Auston Matthews, and the Maple Leafs have been mum, and most teams are when it comes to injuries this time of year, but he's been dealing with something all season long. You don't go from 69 goals scoring with precision, 3 goals on 3 shots every night or every other night, to scoring 1 time on 8 shots and barely, raising the puck. Like, there's something cooking here with Auston Matthews. It's just more so, to me, the body of work from the player, but I give him sort of the benefit of the doubt because we all know he's banged up. But I think it's an issue that the team hasn't come out and said anything. Like, I think if they were more direct and more transparent, I think people would understand more, and maybe we're not bashing this guy as much because we don't know what's going on, but they want to keep it close to the vest, so they're not going to disclose anything, and hopefully we find out after this run's over. The Marner one's different to me because I think he has proven that this type of hockey is not sustainable for the type of hockey he's playing. Like, Jay Roseau, my co-host on Leafs Morning Take, goes in on this guy like once a week, and I get it. I think we've come to a point, guys, and from the outside looking in, you probably agree, after like a decade, it's probably not going to work. Like, we're talking about 9 playoff runs with this guy, and it's a same old shit where it gets to the game, it gets the important part of a series, he is nowhere to be found. It's one thing to do it in game 2 of round 1 where they win 7-3 and he gets 5 points. Like, good on you, Mitch. Where are you when it's game 6 or 7? And Pete, as you just astutely brought up, like, where are you for that big goal in OT, the Rantanen hat trick? Like, nowhere to be found. And that's what I think is the concerning part from this fan base. But I think Willie Nylander of the 4 is like the dog, the alpha. He's had moments in the playoffs this year and in previous postseasons.
Tons of people watching on YouTube. Appreciate you. Make sure you like the video right now. And also, if you have not yet subscribed, press subscribe. It allows you to comment and do all that stuff. It's also free. It helps us a lot. Thank you very much. On Auston Matthews, though, and I agree, like, clearly there has to be the caveat that he is hurt. However, he is not a good postseason player. So, like, and I know it's kind of fruitless to be like, well, even if he were healthy, he would probably suck right now. But even if he were healthy, he would probably suck right now. Pete mentioned Matthew Nyes earlier. I think that we all love him because he's the anti-Marner. He was a dog last night. Like, everybody was bad. So, as the team potentially bows out of the postseason, and who knows, I'd love to see them show some fight. But say this is it. They trade for Brandon Carlo, who's got another year left on his contract. They do have guys under contract. Is Tavares definitely gone? I think we assume that Marner has to be definitely gone. But, like, I'm just reminded of so many teams the Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins, the Vegas Golden Knights, who it seems like there's a year where you say it makes sense for this to be the year in which they do it. And I was as close to all in on the Leafs as could be. Is there any chance that this is the year they crash and burn? And what an idiot I'm being. It ends up being next year that they come back and they just needed to get that extra punch in the mouth and they can put something together even with all these moving parts.
It's funny you bring that up because I feel sort of that way about the Carolina Hurricanes, where nobody really has talked about them, at least positively, going into the season before the rant and hoopla. And would we be shocked at all if Carolina ends up winning? Like they're getting goaltending as well from Freddie Anderson. I think a consummate conversation right now, but maybe that's the case. I think you just can't come back with the same nucleus. So I think Marner's a guy for sure who's not going to be back. I think the point is well taken from the outsider's perspective of John Tavares. They almost have to re-sign him because who are you filling the void with? Like I was saying this on my show today, in a perfect world, I know Sam Bennett's a local product, but would Sam Bennett look at free agency, and it sounds like he's going to re-sign in Florida, by the way, but would he look at free agency and be like, you know what, I'm going to go to Toronto. I want that smoke. That team is close. I'd be like, get me the hell away from that team. Like, I don't want to go to them. Aaron Ekblad, same conversation. So honestly, the question gets to, like, I understand you want to make a culture change, but then who are you adding in free agency? I think there's going to be an arms race for Brock Besser, Nikolai Ehlers, Marner, Bennett. Like this free agency crop isn't very strong. And I think that's what sort of plagues the Leafs this year, is they almost are being forced into a decision where they have to keep at least one or maybe both, who knows, of Marner and Tavares here.
All right, we'll get you out of here after this one. We know things can change very, very quickly in the playoffs. Like after Game 3 of the Oilers-Golden Knights series, we were ready to say Edmonton sucks, they're out, Stuart Skinner is a bum, Leon Draisaitl scoring on his own net. It's over for these guys. What does it have to look like in Game 6? We've already discussed the Game 7 element of it all, where the Leafs are definitely going to choke. What does it have to look like for the Leafs in Game 6 where you can have some seed of belief that they can win this series?
Well, they got to go back to Craig Berube hockey. It begins with that. Hard on the forecheck, physical. Like, that pissed me off, too, about Game 5. Like, that is your time in the third period where it's a rout to take some liberties, take some runs. I think they've made the series so easy for Matthew Tkachuk. It's like they're scared of the guy. He is so fucking hurt. It's insane to me. And they're just letting him scot-free, do his thing, piss guys off, jab at Nylander. Like, take a run at him, man. Take a chunk out of them. And I feel like they didn't do that. So more linear, more direct, get bodies in front. Sergei Bobrovsky's been decent, but I don't think he's been like the star talent that we saw a couple of years ago. Like, I think he's beatable. We saw that earlier on in the series. And I think it's cliche, but the start is everything to me when it comes to the Maple Leafs. You have to give yourself belief, and that means scoring the first goal. And very similar to like Florida Panthers and their record the last couple of years when leading after 2, that was sort of the MO of the Maple Leafs all season long. They get a lead, they rarely relinquish it, which is different than, recent seasons when you come to this Leafs team. So it's pretty simple. And on top of that, like, the big boys need to just elevate. Same old shit, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.